Good afternoon, I'm Jeff. We're with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 740 7th Street here in Lake Oswego. We're located at the rear of the home. We have a 3-inch ABS cleanout as our point of access. I'm going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Currently have water running. Here we go. Alright, I'm actually going to go through the backflow valve here. Sometimes these flappers get knocked loose when you go through, so we'll just bypass it altogether. We do have a belly in the line there. We'll take a look at that on the way out when the pipe's all drained to get an accurate look at how much water is really there. And we've got another belly here as well. You can see we're getting debris collecting in the line in that particular spot. I suppose it's possible whatever we're pushing down the line here might be responsible for some of that standing water. We'll have to wait till the line's all drained out at the end. And we've got something protruding through the joint here. We'll take a look at this on the way out when it's drained. This may be the main lateral connection. I'm going to go locate and see where we're at. And this last term we just went through here is making it pretty hard to get the camera down line. I think we've got a second clean out we can use. And we're going to attempt to get down line from that point. Bypass a bunch of turns. As best I can tell here, I don't get a great view of kind of below the camera lens here currently. I think this is just a drop here and a turn in the line. It's a possibility. It's tying into the top of a main here. The way that this is situated, it's kind of a hard one to tell. But I don't think so. I'm locating the camera head kind of close to the house. Most of these end up going out to the street, to the rear. And we might have a root that's come through here. I mean, at this point, it's quite small. And this right here, I'm not entirely sure if that's a root or some other object. I mean, it almost looks like a rusted piece of metal or something of that nature. That's a tough one. That's not terribly indicative of how roots normally look when they come through. I mean, it's red in color. But we do have something that's stuck right to the joint there. That almost looks like a piece of metal, but it's a hard one to tell. It could be, or like a piece of rebar or something like that. It's a tough one to tell. We do obviously have to a certain extent a compromised joint there, as we have an object stuck through it. At this time, I'm not seeing a whole lot of debris hanging up on it, and if that is a root, that's going to get worse. It's a really hard one to tell, though. It's kind of oddly shaped for the average root. This little guy right here, right coming out of this Y connection, this looks more like a root to me. At this time, it's quite small, not affecting things. So I'm going to try and locate this particular spot. It looks like possibly a test Y coming in there or something like that. And I'm locating the camera head here. Just if you're looking at the front of the house from the street, we're at the rear right corner of the house, maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet straight out from it, going out to the right side of the home, underneath the concrete. And right now, it's just about to pass from the concrete into the kind of dirt area as it heads out to the roadway. So anyway, this spot right here is kind of a tough one. This little guy does look like a root intrusion. It's a hard one to tell, because it's just a single strand there, but that is looking like a root. It's a possibility it's something else that came down the line and got stuck. The reason I'm having a hard time with that is where it originates from. It's originating from up inside there and not stuck to the other side of the pipe where something like that would normally get hung up at. So anyway, at this point, it's not affecting things, but my concern here too is if you have a root coming through there, this may be a root in just an oddly shaped one. It's entirely possible. But if you've got roots there with a compromised joint here, you may very well get roots through there at some point as well. So anyway, we'll take another look at that when we move over to the other clean out. We're going to reel back here and try and get out into the road. Yes, and we just went through a very minor amount of standing water. It's nothing I would recommend repairing there. It was only maybe a 1/16 of an inch, probably even less than that. I can't tell if we've got a whole bunch of excess pipe glue in the flow line here. That's kind of what that looked like when I was coming back out. You can see that there. It's kind of hard to tell what that is. I do recommend getting it jetted and removed. The camera here may scrape it loose. It's kind of going right over the top of it, but it's one of those items there in the flow line. When I came down line here, there was a bunch of stuff hung up at this particular spot. That's where I believe I started to see all the standing water in the line, and this is likely what's causing it here. It's hard to tell what it is exactly. It almost looks like duct tape. I think we might have just a bunch of dried pipe glue to the bottom of the line. It's a tough one. But I highly recommend getting that removed. And the most likely culprit is that it is excess pipe glue from when it was installed. I recommend getting it jetted and removed, and then a rescope to ensure that that was removed from the sewer line. That's right where we saw some stuff on the way out. There was a bunch of toilet paper that hung up there. As you can see now, we're not seeing a whole bunch of standing water on the way back in. So that's exactly what was going on. It hung up toilet paper And that's what caused the pipe to dam up there. We're not seeing any of that at this point. We got some standing water here. At this point, that's sitting below a 1/4 inch. That right there is about a 1/16 of an inch of water. If the water level comes up to the bottom of the camera lens, that's right at a 1/4 inch, and that's way below that. That's quite minimal there. All right, we're back to the cleanout here. I'm going to go ahead and reel the camera out. We're going to move over to the secondary cleanout and try and scope out through that concrete pipe. And then we'll take another look at those spots where we may have some roots coming through.